The alarm rang through the quiet halls of Station 7. Dr. Park Soo-jin looked up from her tea, watching the red lights flash across her computer screen. She had been working late again, trying to decode strange signals from deep space. Most of the time, these signals were just cosmic noise, but this one was different. "Computer, play the signal again," she said, leaning forward in her chair. The speakers crackled to life. Strange sounds filled the room, not the random static she usually heard, but something with pattern, something with meaning. Someone was trying to talk. Park Soo-jin had spent 15 years learning alien languages. She was the best at what she did. The Terran Republic sent her the hardest cases, the signals that no one else could understand. But this signal made her hands shake. She could hear fear in it. Admiral Kim Tae-ho was having dinner with his officers when the call came. He wiped his mouth with a napkin and answered his comm device. "Admiral, this is Dr. Park Soo-jin at Station 7. You need to hear this." Kim Tae-ho knew that voice. Park Soo-jin never called unless something big was happening. He excused himself from dinner and walked to his private office aboard the flagship Indomitable. "Put it through, Doctor." The alien voice filled his office. Even without understanding the words, Kim Tae-ho could hear the desperation. Someone was crying for help. "I've been working on this for 6 hours," Park Soo-jin said. "They call themselves the Villani. They're dying, Admiral. Their whole planet is under attack." Kim Tae-ho sat down heavily in his chair. "What kind of attack?" "Something called the Harvesters. From what I can understand, they're machines, old machines that eat planets. The Villani have been fighting them for months, but they're losing." The Admiral stared out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, people were dying. People he had never met. From a world he had never seen. "Have they asked for help from the Galactic Council?" "Yes, sir. 3 months ago. The Council is still reviewing the situation." Kim Tae-ho closed his eyes. He had dealt with the Galactic Council before. They were good at talking and terrible at doing. By the time they finished their meetings, the Villani would be dead. "Doctor, how much of their language have you learned?" "Enough to talk, sir. They're sending coordinates. They want anyone who receives this message to know where they are, just in case someone cares enough to help. Send me everything you have. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." 20 minutes later, Kim Tae-ho watched the Villani message on his personal screen. Park Soo-jin had added translation text below the alien words. What he read made him angry. The Villani were peaceful people. They had never fought a real war. Their planet was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and green forests. They had families, children, dreams for the future. All of that was being destroyed by machines that cared nothing for life. The message showed pictures of their cities burning, their ships designed for exploration, not war, being torn apart by massive metal creatures, children hiding in shelters while the ground shook above them. At the end of the message, the Villani leader spoke directly to the camera. Park Soo-jin had translated his words. "We know that most species fear us because we are different. We know that many of you think we are weak. But we are still people. We still love our children. If anyone receives this message, please remember that we existed. Please remember that we tried to live in peace." Kim Tae-ho turned off the screen and called. For his senior staff, Captain Lee Do-hyun arrived first. He commanded the Terran Marines aboard the Indomitable, soldiers trained for the hardest fights. He was a quiet man with scars on his hands and a reputation for never leaving anyone behind. "Captain, how quickly can you get your Marines ready? For combat?" Lee Do-hyun didn't ask questions. 6 hours for full battle gear, sir. 12 hours if you want the heavy weapons loaded. Get them ready, all of them." Next came Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho, a man who could fix anything and build weapons from spare parts. "Chief, I need every ship in the fleet ready for a long journey." "How long?" "Depends on where we're going, Admiral. If it's more than 10 jumps, I'll need 2 days to check all the drive systems." "It's 15 jumps. Get started. The last to arrive was Captain Yoon Ji-woo, the best pilot in the fleet. She flew the new starfighters that could dance between enemy ships like deadly birds. Captain, how many fighters can you put in space? All 48, sir. My pilots are always ready. Kim Tae-ho looked at his 3 best officers. I'm going to tell you something, and then I'm going to give you orders that might get us all killed. He played the Villani message for them. He watched. Their faces changed as they saw the burning cities and heard the desperate voices. When it finished, the room was quiet. Earth Command wants us to observe only, Kim Tae-ho said. They want us to watch and report back. They don't want us to fight. Lee. Do-hyun spoke first. With respect, Admiral, that's not what we do. No, it's not, Kim Tae-ho agreed. We don't watch people die when we can help them. Captain Yoon Ji-woo leaned forward. Admiral, my pilots didn't join the fleet to be tourists. If there's a fight, we want to be in it. Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho nodded. I can have weapons ready for any ship that volunteers to come with us. Won't be pretty, but they'll work. Kim Tae-ho made his decision. Send a message to every Terran ship in this sector. Tell them what's happening. Tell them we're going to help the Villani. Anyone who wants to join us is welcome. Anyone who doesn't want to fight can stay here. And if Earth Command orders us to stop? Lee Do-hyun asked. Then we'll apologize later, after we save some lives. The response surprised everyone. Within 12 hours, every Terran ship in the sector had volunteered to join the mission. Military ships, cargo haulers, even civilian vessels with small crews and big hearts. Word spread through the fleet networks faster than official orders could travel. The story was simple. Aliens had called for help, and only humanity had answered. Park. Soo-jin worked without sleep, learning more of the Villani language. She discovered that they had tried to contact dozens of species. Most had ignored the message. A few had sent replies saying they were sorry but couldn't help. Only the humans had said yes. Admiral, she called Kim Tae-ho on the second day. I've made contact with the Villani directly. They can't believe we're coming. What did you tell them? That humans don't abandon people in trouble. They're crying, sir. They're actually crying with relief. Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of his ship and looked out at the growing fleet. 87 ships had joined them. Some were military vessels with trained crews and powerful weapons. Others were cargo ships with volunteer crews and whatever, guns they could find. All of them were ready to fight for people they had never met. Set course for the Villani system, he ordered. Maximum speed. As the fleet jumped into hyperspace, Kim Tae-ho thought about the message that had started it all. The Villani had asked the galaxy to remember them. Instead, the galaxy was about to learn what it meant when humans remembered you. The Deathworlders were coming. The news spread through human space like fire through dry grass. On Earth, people gathered around their screens to watch the reports. On colonies scattered across 100 worlds, families talked about the brave aliens who had asked for help. In the military recruitment centers, the lines stretched around city blocks. I want to join the fleet, said an old man with gray hair and steady hands. I fought in the border wars. My ship might be slow, but she still flies. Sir, you're 73 years old, the recruiter said. Those aliens don't care how old I am. They just need help. Lieutenant Colonel Kang So-young was planning training exercises when her comm device started ringing. Call after call from ship captains asking the same question. Where do we meet Kim Tae-ho's fleet? She pulled up the star charts and started making lists. Trading ships that could carry supplies, passenger ships that could transport Marines, even mining vessels with heavy drilling equipment that might work as weapons. This is crazy, her assistant said. Half these ships aren't even military. The Villani don't care what kind of ships we bring, Kang So-young replied. They just want to see us coming. Dr. Park Soo-jin had been talking to the Villani for 3 days now. Their language was becoming easier to understand. They were a gentle, people who had never known real war. They fought with rules and honor, even against machines that had no honor at all. "Tell me about the harvesters," she said to the Villani leader, whose name was Arundal. "They are old, Dr. Park, older than our civilization. They come from the dark between stars, and they consume everything: planets, ships, people. Nothing stops them." "How many of them are there?" 17 ships, each the size of your moon. They move slowly, but they never stop. They have been eating our outer worlds for 6 months. Park Soo-jin felt cold. Ships the size of moons. How could they fight something like that? "Chancellor Arundel, how long do you have?" "Our shields will fail in 10 days. Maybe 12 if we shut down everything else to give them more power. After that..." He didn't finish the sentence. Park Soo-jin did the math. Kim Taeho's fleet would take 8 days to reach the Villani system. They would arrive just in time to watch a planet die. "Chancellor, we're coming. Hold on just a little longer." "Dr. Park, may I ask you something?" "Of course. Why are your people helping us?" "The galaxy calls you deathworlders. They say humans are violent and dangerous, but you are risking everything for strangers." Park Soo-jin thought about that. "Chancellor, we are violent. Earth taught us to be, but we choose who we're violent toward, and we don't like bullies." Captain Lee Do-hyun watched his Marines loading weapons onto every ship in the fleet. They worked in teams, teaching civilian crews how to use military equipment. Most of the volunteers had never fired a gun in anger, but they were learning fast. "Sergeant Kim, how many Marines do we have now?" "Original count was 400, sir. But we've got volunteers from every ship. Cargo handlers, engineers, cooks, they all want to fight. Total count is now 2,000. Lee Do-hyun nodded. 2,000 people ready to die for aliens they had never met. It made him proud and worried at the same time. "Make sure they know what they're getting into, Sergeant. This isn't going to be a fair fight." "Sir, they know. I told them exactly what the Villani told us about these harvesters. They still want to go." "Why?" Sergeant Kim smiled. "They say it's the right thing to do." Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho had not slept in 4 days. He was installing weapons on ships that were never meant to fight. Missile launchers on cargo haulers. Railguns on passenger ships. Even the mining vessels were getting upgrades. "This is insane," his assistant said for the 10th time. "These ships will tear themselves apart if they try to fire these weapons." "Then we'll build them stronger," Choi Min-ho replied. "Hand me that welding torch." "Sir, some of these civilian crews have never been in combat. They don't know how to use military weapons." "Then we'll teach them. Simple controls, big red buttons. Point at the bad guys and pull the trigger." The assistant looked worried. "What if they hit our own ships by mistake?" Choi Min-ho stopped working and looked at him. "Son, if we're close enough to hit each other by accident, we're probably already dead. These harvester ships are the size of moons. Missing them would be harder than hitting them." Captain Yoon Ji-woo was training new pilots. The civilian ships had brought their own small fighters, cargo shuttles, maintenance pods, even racing ships. None of them were built for war, but they could fly and they could carry weapons. "Listen carefully," she told the group of volunteer pilots. "You are not soldiers. You don't have military training, but you have something the enemy doesn't expect." "What's that?" asked a young pilot who had been flying cargo runs just a week ago. "You're unpredictable. Military pilots are trained to follow patterns. You don't know the patterns, so you'll do things that surprise the enemy. Use that." An older pilot raised her hand. "Captain, we're flying cargo shuttles against ships the size of moons. How do we even scratch them?" "You don't try to destroy them," Yoon Ji-woo explained. "You distract them. You make them look at you instead of our big ships. You be annoying." "I can do annoying," the pilot said with a grin. Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on his bridge and watched the fleet growing larger every day. Ships arrived from across human space, some traveling for days just to join the mission. Each one brought volunteers. "And supplies, Admiral," his communications officer called. "We're getting a message from Earth Command." Kim Tae-ho sighed. He had been expecting this. "Put it through." The face of Admiral Shin Woo-jin appeared on the screen. He was Kim Tae-ho's old friend, and now his superior officer. "Tae-ho, what the hell are you doing?" "I'm following orders, sir. You told me to investigate the alien distress call. I told you to observe and report. I didn't tell you to start a war with ancient machines." "Sir, with respect, they started the war. We're just finishing it." Shin Woo-jin rubbed his forehead. "Do you have any idea how many politicians are screaming at me right now? The Galactic Council is furious. They say we're being reckless. The Galactic Council can file a complaint after we save the Vellani. Tae-ho, you could lose your command over this. You could face court-martial." Kim Tae-ho looked out at his fleet. 87 ships full of people who had volunteered to risk everything for strangers. "Sir, if I have to choose between my career and doing the right thing, that's not really a choice." There was a long pause. Then Shin Woo-jin smiled. "You always were too stubborn for your own good. How many ships do you have?" 87 and counting. "Make it 112. I'm sending you the 3rd Fleet. They should reach you in 2 days." Kim Tae-ho stared at the screen. "Sir, are you sure? This could end both our careers." "Tae-ho, I've been watching the news reports. Every human in the galaxy is talking about this mission. Children are asking their parents why the aliens called us for help. Old veterans are coming out of retirement. If we let the Vellani die now, we'll never forgive ourselves." "Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. The 3rd Fleet is bringing the new weapons we've been testing. But remember, you're going up against machines that have been killing civilizations for thousands of years. They've never lost a fight." Kim Tae-ho smiled. "Then they've never fought humans." After the call ended, Kim Tae-ho walked through his ship. In the Marine quarters, soldiers were checking their weapons and writing letters home. In the fighter bays, pilots were painting pictures on their ships. Pictures of Earth, of family, of hope. In the cargo holds, civilian volunteers were learning to use military equipment. They were scared, but they were determined. They knew they might die, but they also knew they were doing something important. Dr. Park Soo-jin found him in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. "Admiral, I just finished talking to Chancellor. Arundel! The harvesters have reached their inner system. They're consuming the 4th planet now. How is he holding up?" "Better than I expected. He says knowing that help is coming has given his people new strength. They're not just trying to survive anymore. They're trying to hold on long enough for us to arrive." Kim Tae-ho nodded. "We'll make it in time. Sir, may I ask you something? When we get there, what's our plan?" Kim Tae-ho was quiet for a moment. "Dr. Park, I've been thinking about that. These harvesters have destroyed 17 civilizations. They're older and more advanced than anything we've ever fought. By every logical measure, we should lose. But every logical measure says humans shouldn't exist. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years, and we're still here. We didn't survive by being logical. We survived by being too stubborn to quit." Park Soo-jin smiled. "So our plan is to be stubborn? Our plan is to be human, and hope that's enough." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Vellani system, and what they saw made everyone go quiet. "Dear God," whispered Captain Nam Hyun-woo from his scout ship Silent Thunder. He had seen war before, but nothing like this. 3 planets were gone. Not destroyed. Gone. In their place were massive metal spheres, each one the size of a moon, slowly pulling apart the 4th planet piece by piece. Smaller machines swarmed around them like insects, carrying chunks of rock and metal back to the spheres. "Admiral," Dr. Park Soo-jin's voice was shaky, "I'm getting signals from the planet. The Vellani are still alive, but their shields are failing." Admiral Kim Tae-ho stared at the displays showing the harvester ships. They were bigger than anything in his worst nightmares. "How do you fight something that eats planets?" All ships. This is Admiral Kim. I know what you're seeing looks impossible. I know these things seem too big to fight. But remember why we're here. There are people dying down there, and they called us for help. Captain Lee Do-hyun studied the enemy ships through his binoculars. Admiral, requesting permission to take a closer look. My Marines need to know what we're fighting. Granted. But be careful, Captain. We don't know what their sensors can detect. Lee. Do-hyun took a small team in a stealth ship toward the nearest harvester. As they got closer, the true size became clear. The ship was not just moon-sized. It was bigger than Earth's moon. Its surface was covered in weapons and docking bays for the smaller machines. "This is insane," one of his Marines whispered. "How do we even get inside something like that?" "The same way we get inside anything else," Lee Do-hyun replied. "We find a door and we kick it down." Captain Nam Hyun-woo was trying to reach the planet surface. He dodged between the smaller harvester machines, using his ship's speed to avoid their attention. When he finally broke through to the planet, he found the Volani capital city. Half of it was in ruins. The other half was protected by a shimmering energy shield that flickered and sparked. Through the shield, he could see thousands of Volani, looking up at the sky with hope in their eyes. "This is Captain Nam of the Terran Republic," he broadcast on all frequencies. "We're here to help." The response came immediately. "Captain Nam, this is Chancellor Arundel. We cannot believe you actually came." "We told you we would." "Captain, you must leave immediately. These machines are too powerful. We have been fighting them for months with our most advanced weapons. Nothing works." Nam Hyun-woo looked at his sensors. The shield around the city was failing fast. "Chancellor, how long do you have?" "Perhaps 6 hours, maybe less." "Then we'd better work fast." Back with the main fleet, Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho was studying the harvester ships with every sensor they had. "Admiral, I'm seeing some interesting things." "Tell me." "These ships are old, really old. Their hull design is from technology that's thousands of years ahead of us, but they're covered in patches and repairs. They've been fighting for a long time. Any weaknesses? Maybe. Their hulls are designed to absorb energy weapons, but I'm not seeing much armor against physical impact." Admiral Kim Tae-ho thought about that. "You mean ramming attacks?" "It's crazy, but it might work. These ships are huge, but they're not built to take hits from other ships. They're built to fight civilizations that use energy weapons." Captain Yoon Ji-woo had been listening to the conversation. "Admiral, my fighters could make ramming runs. Small ships, maximum speed." "Captain, that would be suicide." "Not if we time it right. Hit them fast, eject at the last second, let the ship continue on autopilot. It's dangerous, but it's not suicide." Kim Tae-ho was about to respond when alarms started ringing across the fleet. "Admiral," his sensor officer called, "the harvesters have detected us. They're turning toward our position." Through the main screen, they watched as the massive ships slowly changed direction. The smaller machines that had been taking apart the planet suddenly swarmed toward the human fleet like angry bees. "All ships, prepare for combat," Kim Tae-ho ordered. "Let's see what these things can do." The first wave of harvester machines hit the human fleet like a metal storm. They were fast and heavily armed, firing beams of energy that could cut through ship hulls like paper. But they fought in perfect formation, like a computer program. Human ships scattered in all directions. Some went up, some went down, some spun in circles. The harvester machines tried to follow, but their programming couldn't. "Handle the chaos. They're confused," Captain Yoon Ji-woo reported as her fighters danced between the enemy machines. "They expect us to fight in formation, but we're all over the place." "Keep them confused," Kim Tae-ho replied. "All ships, random movement patterns. Don't let them predict what you're doing." But the celebration was short-lived. The harvester machines quickly adapted. Their formation became looser, more flexible. They started anticipating human movements. "Admiral," Lee Do-hyun called from his infiltration ship, I'm seeing something strange. These machines are learning from watching us. They're copying our tactics. How fast are they learning? Too fast. Give them another hour and they'll be fighting just like us. Kim Tae-ho made a quick decision. All ships, fall back to minimum safe distance. We need to regroup. As the human fleet retreated, Dr. Park Soo-jin managed to establish communication. With Chancellor Arundel again. Dr. Park, what happened? We saw explosions in space. We engaged the enemy. We're learning how they fight. And? Park Soo-jin was quiet for a moment. Chancellor, they're very good at adapting, but so are we. Dr. Park, our shields will fail soon. If you cannot defeat these machines, you must take as many of our people as you can and leave. We're not leaving. Dr. Park, your species has a reputation for violence, but these machines have defeated civilizations far more advanced than either of ours. You cannot win this fight. Chancellor, you've never seen what humans do when someone threatens children. The fleet regrouped at the edge of the system. Ship captains reported their damage while Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho worked on new ideas. The energy weapons barely scratched them, one captain reported. It's like shooting at a mountain. The ramming attacks worked better, another captain added. But we lost 3 ships just to damage one of their smaller machines. Admiral Kim Tae-ho listened to all the reports. They had hurt the enemy, but not enough. And the harvesters were learning. Sir, Captain Nam Hyun-woo called from the planet's surface. The Vellani shields are getting weaker. I can see cracks forming. Kim Tae-ho looked at his officers. Ideas? We could evacuate the planet, suggested one officer. Save as many Vellani as possible. No, said Captain Lee Do-hyun. If we run now, these machines will just follow us. They'll destroy every world until there's nothing left. The captain's right, added Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho. These things have been killing civilizations for thousands of years. Someone has to stop them here. Captain Yoon Ji-woo stepped forward. Admiral, I've been watching how they move. They're fast and they're smart, but they're still machines. They think like machines. What do you mean? They solve problems logically. They expect us to be logical too. But humans aren't logical when we're angry. Kim Tae-ho thought about that. Captain, are you suggesting we stop thinking? I'm suggesting we start feeling. These machines destroyed whole worlds full of people. They're trying to destroy more people right now. That should make us angry. And anger makes us unpredictable. Anger makes us human. Admiral Kim Tae-ho looked out at his fleet. 112 ships full of people who had volunteered to fight for strangers. They had come here knowing they might die. They had come because it was the right thing to do. All ships, this is Admiral Kim. We've seen what the enemy can do. They're strong, they're fast, and they're smart. But they have one weakness. He paused, making sure every ship could hear him. They don't understand why we're here. They don't understand why we would risk everything for people we've never met. They think like machines, but we think like humans. And that's going to win this fight. On the planet below, Chancellor Arundel watched the human ships regrouping. In space, he had studied many species in his long life, but he had never met anyone like these humans. They had seen impossible odds and refused to retreat. Perhaps, he said to his aide, we have been wrong about what it means to be civilized. The shields around the Vellani capital flickered one more time. 6 hours had become 4 hours. The humans were running out of time, but they were still there. Still fighting, still refusing to quit. And for the first time in months, Chancellor Arundel allowed himself to hope. Dr. Han Kyung-mi was not a soldier. She was a psychologist who studied how different species think about war. Right now, she was watching something that amazed her. Chancellor Arundel, she said through the communication link, I need to ask you something important. When your people fight, how do you do it? The Vellani leader seemed confused by the question. We fight with honor, Dr. Han. We follow rules. We target military installations, not civilians. We give the enemy chances to surrender. And when you Lose a battle? We retreat and plan a better strategy. We learn from our mistakes and try again when we are stronger. Dr. Han Kyung-mi nodded. That's exactly what I thought. Chancellor, I want you to watch what happens next. Watch how humans fight when someone threatens innocent people. Admiral Kim Tae-ho had divided his fleet into 3 groups. The first group would attack the harvester ships directly, trying to damage them and draw their attention. The second group would rescue Villani from the planet. The third group would do something that no logical species would attempt. They would ram the enemy ships. All ramming ships. This is Admiral Kim. Are your crews ready? 23 voices answered from 23 different ships. Cargo haulers, passenger ships, even 2 luxury yachts that had joined the fleet. None of them were built for war, but their crews had volunteered for the most dangerous job. Admiral, Captain Nam Hyun-woo's voice was calm. Silent Thunder is ready for ramming run. Crew is evacuating to escape pods now. Captain, you don't have to do this. We can find another way. Sir, with respect, there is no other way. These things need to be stopped, and this is how we stop them. Master Sergeant Bae Jong-soo was leading the ground assault team. While the fleet fought in space, his job was to get inside one of the harvester ships and plant explosives in its core. Sergeant, Captain Lee Do-hyun said over the radio, remember, these machines have been fighting for thousands of years. They've seen every trick. Yes, sir. But they've never seen human tricks. Bae Jong-soo's team included 20 Marines and 40 volunteers from the civilian ships. They were engineers, cargo handlers, cooks, and mechanics. None of them had military training, but all of them were angry. Listen up, Bae Jong-soo told his team as they prepared to board the assault shuttle. These machines think they know how wars work. They expect us to follow rules. Well, humans don't have rules when we're protecting children. The first attack began when Captain Yoon Ji-woo led her fighter squadron straight at the nearest harvester ship. The massive machine turned its weapons toward the small fighters, but instead of attacking in formation, the humans scattered like leaves in a storm. Remember, Yoon Ji-woo called to her pilots, don't try to be smart. Try to be annoying. The Diao fighters spun and danced around the harvester ship's weapons. They fired at random targets, not trying to cause serious damage, just trying to confuse the enemy. The harvester's targeting systems couldn't keep up with the chaos. It's working, one pilot reported. The big ship is turning in circles trying to track us. But the real surprise came when the ramming ships attacked. Captain Nam Hyun-woo aimed Silent Thunder directly at the harvester ship's hull. At the last second, he and his crew ejected in escape pods while the ship continued on autopilot. The empty ship, packed with explosives, hit the harvester at maximum speed. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. "Direct hit!" someone yelled over the radio. "We punched a hole right through their hull." The harvester ship shuddered and listed to one side. For the first time in the battle, the machine seemed surprised. "All ramming ships, go!" Admiral Kim Tae-ho ordered. One by one, the volunteer ships made their suicide runs. Each ship was empty, except for explosives and automated systems. Each impact tore massive holes in the harvester hulls. The machines tried to adapt. They moved faster, changed direction, fired at the ramming ships. But humans had been throwing things at enemies since the beginning of time. They knew how to make it work. Master Sergeant Bae Jong-soo used the chaos to get his team inside one of the damaged harvester ships. They crawled through holes torn by the ramming attacks and found themselves in a maze of metal corridors. "This place is huge," one of his volunteers whispered. "How do we find the core?" "We follow the power cables," Bae Jong-soo replied. "Everything needs power. Follow the cables and you find the heart." The inside of the harvester ship was like being inside a giant machine. Cables ran along the walls, carrying energy to different systems. The corridors were too small for the machines, but perfect for humans. "Sergeant," one of his Marines called, "I'm seeing movement ahead." Around the corner came a maintenance robot designed to repair damage inside the ship. It was twice the size of a human and armed with cutting tools that could slice through metal. Bai Zhongsu didn't try to fight it with weapons. Instead, he grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed foam at its sensors, blinding it. While it spun around confused, his team ran past it. "Sir," one volunteer asked, "shouldn't we try to destroy it?" "No time. We're not here to fight." "Every robot in this ship. We're here to blow up the power core." They moved deeper into the ship, following the power cables. Behind them, they could hear more maintenance robots being activated. The ship's systems were trying to find and stop the intruders, but the robots were programmed to fight organized. Invasions, not a small team of humans crawling through maintenance shafts and hiding in storage rooms. In space, the battle was becoming more chaotic by the minute. The harvester ships were trying to use their advanced weapon systems, but the humans refused to fight in any predictable pattern. Some ships attacked from above, others from below. Some fired missiles, others tried ramming attacks. Some ships just flew in circles, distracting the enemy sensors. "They're getting frustrated," Captain Yoon Ji-woo reported. "The big ships keep trying to line up perfect shots, but we won't stay still long enough." Dr. Han Kyung-mi was documenting everything she saw. "Chancellor Arundel, are you watching this?" "Yes, Dr. Han. But I don't understand. Your people are fighting without any coordination. How do they know what to do?" "They don't plan it," she explained. "Earth taught humans to survive by adapting quickly. When one tactic stops working, they try something else immediately. But that seems so chaotic." "Chaos is exactly right. The harvesters are machines. They expect order and logic. They can't handle true chaos." Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho had discovered something important about the harvester ships. "Admiral, I've been studying their hull design. These ships are built to resist energy weapons, but they're weak against kinetic impact." "You mean hitting them with solid objects?" "Exactly. Their shields can deflect laser beams, but they can't stop a chunk of metal moving at high speed." Kim Tae-ho looked at the asteroid field near the planet. "Chief, how hard would it be to move some of those asteroids?" "Give me some mining ships. And about 30 minutes. We can turn this whole asteroid field into ammunition." While the miners worked, Master Sergeant Bai Jong-soo finally found what he was looking for. Deep in the heart of the harvester ship was a massive power core, glowing with energy that could run a city for 100 years. "This is it," he told his team. "Plant the charges around the base. We've got about 5 minutes before they figure out where we are." His volunteers worked quickly, placing explosives around the power core. They were scared, but determined. They knew that destroying this ship might save millions of Vellani lives. "Sergeant," one of his Marines called. "We've got company." The corridor behind them was filling with maintenance robots. Dozens of them, all armed with cutting tools and repair equipment that could easily kill humans. "How long until the charges are ready?" Bai Jong-soo asked. 2 minutes. "Then we hold them for 2 minutes. The humans had no chance in a straight fight against the robots. But they didn't fight straight. They used fire extinguishers to blind sensors, threw tools to jam mechanical joints, and crawled through spaces too small for the machines to follow. 30 seconds, his demolitions expert called. Bai Jong-soo looked at his team. Half of them were wounded, all of them were exhausted, but none of them had given up. When this thing blows, the whole ship is going to shake apart. Everyone find something solid to hold on to. The explosion was bigger than they expected. The power core didn't just explode, it collapsed in on itself, creating a chain reaction that ripped through the entire ship. The massive harvester vessel, which had been consuming planets for thousands of years, broke apart like a toy. In space, Admiral Kim Tae-ho watched one of the enemy ships dying. "That's one down, 16 to go." But something unexpected was happening. The other harvester ships were changing their tactics. Instead of trying to fight logically, they were becoming more aggressive, more random in their attacks. "Admiral," Dr. Park Soo-jin called from her station. I think the harvesters are trying to copy our tactics. They're learning to fight like humans. Can machines learn to be chaotic? I don't know. But if they can, we're in trouble. On the planet below, Chancellor Arundel watched the space battle with amazement. These humans fight like nothing I have ever seen. They break every rule of civilized warfare. Is that bad? His aide asked. I'm beginning to think civilization might be overrated. The shield around the Villani capital flickered again. They were down to 2 hours of power. But for the first time in months, the reinforcements arrived like thunder in the dark. Admiral Shin Woo-jin brought the core fleet, 25 of humanity's most advanced warships. These were not the volunteer vessels that had answered Kim Tae-ho's call. These were military, ships with trained crews and weapons designed to fight wars. Tae-ho, Shin Woo-jin's voice came over the comm. What's your situation? We've destroyed 2 harvester ships and damaged 3 more, Kim Tae-ho replied. But they're learning to fight like us. They're becoming unpredictable. Then we'd better end this quickly. But something was changing in the enemy fleet. The remaining 15 harvester ships were not just copying human tactics. They were improving on them. The massive vessels moved with new purpose, attacking in patterns that seemed almost chaotic but were somehow coordinated. Admiral, Dr. Park Soo-jin called from her station. I'm detecting strange signals from the harvester ships. They're talking to each other, but not like machines. It's more like they're arguing. Machines don't argue, Doctor. These ones do. I think our chaotic tactics have confused their programming. They're trying to understand how to think like humans, and it's driving them crazy. In the deepest part of space, ancient beyond measure, the Harvester Prime felt something it had not experienced in 10,000 years. Confusion. For millennia, it had consumed civilizations with perfect efficiency. Every species followed predictable patterns. They built defenses, they organized armies, they fought with logic and strategy. The Prime adapted to their methods and destroyed them. But these humans were different. They fought without logic. They sacrificed themselves for strangers. They became more dangerous when they were losing, not less. The Prime tried to understand this behavior. It analyzed every human action, looking for patterns. But the more it studied them, the more confused it became. Why would they risk everything? For aliens they had never met? Why did they fight harder when their situation was hopeless? Why did they seem to enjoy the chaos of battle? The Prime had consumed 17 civilizations, and none of them had prepared it for humanity. Captain Lee. Do-hyun was leading another assault team toward a damaged harvester ship when something unexpected happened. The ship's weapons stopped firing at him. Admiral, this is strange. The enemy ship has stopped shooting. Are you sure it's not a trap? I don't think so. The ship is just sitting there, like it's thinking about something. Lee Do-hyun moved closer to the harvester ship. Its hull was scarred from ramming attacks, and several of its weapon systems were dark. But it had enough firepower left to destroy his small assault ship easily. Instead, it did nothing. Sir, I'm detecting signals from inside the ship. It sounds like the machines are fighting each other. Similar reports came from across the battlefield. Harvester ships were slowing down, stopping their attacks, even turning their weapons on each other. What's happening to them? Admiral Shin Woo-jin asked. Dr. Han Kyung-mi had been studying the enemy behavior patterns. I think they're having a breakdown. They're machines trying to think like humans, and it's breaking their programming. Can machines have mental breakdowns? These ones can. They've been trying to understand human chaos, but chaos can't be programmed. They're stuck in a logic loop that has no solution. But the celebration was short-lived. The Harvester Prime, ancient and intelligent beyond human understanding, found a different solution to the problem. If it couldn't understand humans, it would simply destroy everything. The massive ship at the center of the Harvester fleet began to glow with energy. It was larger than the others, older, and infinitely more dangerous. All ships, the Prime broadcast on every frequency, You have introduced chaos into perfect order. This cannot be allowed. All life in this system will be consumed. The Prime began moving toward the planet, ignoring the human fleet entirely. Its weapons charged with enough power to crack a world in half. It's going to destroy the planet, Dr. Park Soo-jin said quietly. Not harvest it. Destroy it completely. Chancellor Arundel's voice came through the comm with quiet dignity. Humans, you have fought bravely for us. We understand if you must retreat now. We're not retreating, Admiral Kim Tae-ho replied immediately. Admiral, that ship is larger than anything we've faced. Our weapons barely scratch the smaller ones. Then we'll find another way. Captain Yoon Ji-woo was studying the Prime through her fighter's sensors. Admiral, this ship is different from the others. It's older, but I think that might be a weakness. Explain. The newer ships adapted to our tactics, but this one is so old that adaptation might be harder for it. It's probably programmed to fight civilizations that don't exist anymore. Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho had been listening to the conversation. Captain Yoon is right. I'm seeing hull patterns on that ship that are ancient. It might not have the same defensive systems as the others. Are you suggesting we ram it? I'm suggesting we ram it with everything we have. Admiral Shin Woo-jin understood immediately. You want to use the entire fleet as a weapon? Not the entire fleet, Kim Tae-ho replied. Every ship that volunteers. The response was immediate. Every human captain, military and civilian, volunteered for the ramming attack. 137 ships ready to sacrifice themselves to stop an ancient evil. This is insane, Dr. Park Soo-jin said. Even if it works, most of us won't survive. Doctor, Admiral Kim Tae-ho replied, sometimes the right thing to do is also the insane thing to do. Master Sergeant Bae Jong-soo was aboard one of the ramming ships. His job was to plant explosives inside the Prime's hull after the initial impact. It was a suicide mission, and everyone knew it. Sergeant, one of his volunteers asked, why are we doing this? Why are we dying for aliens we just met? Bae Jong-soo thought about the question. Because someone has to. Because it's right. Because if we don't stop these things here, they'll keep killing until there's nothing left alive in the galaxy. But we're going to die. Maybe, but the Vellani will live. Their children will grow up and have children of their own. That's worth dying for. The attack began with Captain Nam Hyun-woo in a new ship, leading the ramming fleet toward the Prime. The ancient machine turned its weapons toward the approaching humans, but it was too late. The humans had learned something important. When facing impossible odds, don't try to win. Try to hurt the enemy so badly that they can't hurt anyone else. 137 ships, carrying the hopes of two species, flew straight into the guns of the most dangerous machine ever created. The Prime's weapons fired, destroying dozens of human ships. But the humans kept coming. They flew through the enemy fire like a storm of metal and determination. For the Vellani, Captain Nam Hyun-woo yelled as his ship struck the Prime's hull. For Earth, called another captain as her ship exploded against the ancient armor. For every world they destroyed, screamed a third as his vessel tore through the Prime's weapon systems. Ship after ship struck the massive machine. Each impact was like a hammer blow against something that had seemed invincible. The Prime's hull cracked, its weapons failed, its perfect systems broke apart under the weight of human sacrifice. Master, Sergeant Bae Jong-soo's ship made it through the defensive fire and crashed deep into the Prime's interior. He and his team had minutes to find the ship's core before the ancient systems repaired themselves. They ran through corridors filled with machines older than human civilization, past computers that had calculated the death of entire species, through chambers that had stored the memories of 1,000 dead worlds. At the center of it all, they found the Prime's consciousness, a crystalline structure that pulsed with malevolent intelligence. This is it, Bae Jong-soo told his team. This thing has been killing people for 10,000 years. Let's make sure it never kills anyone again. They placed their explosives around the crystal core while ancient defenses tried to stop them. Robots attacked, energy fields tried to burn them, and the Prime's voice echoed through the chambers, offering them wealth and power if they would stop. "You are the first species to wound me in millennia," the Prime said. "Join me, and I will spare your worlds." Beijong-Su looked at the crystal that held the mind of a planet killer. "We don't make deals with monsters." The explosion that destroyed the Prime lit up the entire system. The ancient machine, which had consumed civilizations since before humans learned to make fire, died in nuclear fire and human determination. In Chiu, the aftermath, Admiral Kim Tae-ho looked at what remained of his fleet. 37 ships had survived the ramming attack. 37 out of 137, but they had won. The remaining harvester ships, their controlling intelligence, destroyed, began shutting down. Without the Prime to guide them, they were just empty machines drifting in space. Chancellor Arundel's voice came through the comm, filled with tears and wonder. "Admiral Kim, what you have done today, how do we thank you for this?" "You don't need to thank us, Chancellor. Just remember that when someone calls for help, you answer. We will remember. The entire galaxy will remember." Dr. Park Soo-jin was already thinking about the future. "Admiral, when word of this battle spreads, every species in the galaxy will know what humans are capable of. Will that be good or bad?" "I think it will be both. They'll be afraid of us, but they'll also know they can call us when they need help." Admiral Shin Woo-jin looked at the debris field. 6 months after the Battle of Valen Prime, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. Dr. Park Soo-jin stood in the new embassy on the Vellani homeworld, watching children play in gardens that had been battlefields just months before. The Vellani had rebuilt quickly, but they had built differently this time. The new cities had shelters and defensive systems. They had learned that the galaxy was not as peaceful as they had believed. "Dr. Park," Chancellor Arundel approached with a datapad in his hands. "The final reports from the Galactic Council have arrived." She took the pad and read through the official statements. The Council had spent 6 months investigating the human intervention. They had interviewed survivors, analyzed battle records, and debated the legal implications of the human actions. Their conclusion was predictable. The humans had acted without authorization and had violated several galactic treaties by intervening in a conflict without council approval. "What does this mean?" Park Soo-jin asked. "It means the council is formally condemning the human action while privately thanking us for being alive to condemn it," Arundel replied with something that might have been a smile. The political aftermath had been complicated. Some species praised humanity's courage and began seeking military alliances with Earth. Others feared human unpredictability and called for restrictions on human expansion. But the practical results were clearer. When the mechanical plague known as the Ghost Fleet had appeared in the Andrian system 3 months ago, the Andrians had sent their distress call directly to Earth instead of the Galactic Council. Human ships had arrived within days and eliminated the threat. When pirates had attacked the peaceful Corvani trading routes, the Corvani government had asked for human protection. Now human patrol ships guarded the space lanes and piracy in that sector had dropped to 0. "The galaxy is changing," Park Soo-jin observed. "Yes," Arundel agreed. "Species that have been victims for centuries are learning that they don't have to be victims anymore. They're learning to fight back." Captain Yoon Ji-woo was training her 3rd group of alien pilots. The Vellani students were eager learners, though they still struggled with the human concept of creative chaos in combat. "Remember," she told them as they practiced maneuvers in their fighters, "the goal is not to follow the plan perfectly. The goal is to win. If the plan stops working, throw it away and try something else." One of her students, a young Vellani named Kier-An, raised his hand. "But Captain, how do we coordinate with other fighters if we're all doing different things?" You don't coordinate. You improvise. You watch what your teammates are doing and support them, but you don't wait for orders. That seems so chaotic. Chaos is exactly right. Your enemies will expect you to be organized and predictable. Don't be. After the training session, Yoon, Ji-woo walked through the base that humans and Vellani had built together. It was a strange mixture of human practicality and Vellani elegance. The buildings were beautiful, but also heavily armored. The gardens were lovely, but also designed to provide cover during attacks. The Vellani were learning to be warriors while trying to remain themselves. It was not an easy balance. Captain Lee Do-hyun had a different job now. Instead of leading assault teams, he was teaching other species how to defend themselves. His current students were Corvani security forces who had never faced serious combat. The most important thing, he told them, is not to give up. The enemy will try to make you afraid. They will try to make you think you can't win. Don't listen to them. But Captain, one Corvani student asked, what if they're right? What if we can't win? Then you make sure they can't win either. You hurt them so badly that they never want to fight anyone again. Is that the human way? Lee Do-hyun thought about that question. The human way is to protect people who can't protect themselves. Sometimes that means fighting. Sometimes it means dying. But it always means doing the right thing, even when it's hard. After class, Lee Do-hyun received a message from Master Sergeant Bae Jong-soo. His old friend was now on Earth, recovering from injuries sustained in the battle with the Prime. The message was simple. New threat detected in Sector 7. Looks like we're needed again. Lee Do-hyun smiled. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but at least it was dangerous for the right people now. Admiral Kim Tae-ho was in his office aboard the Indomitable when the call came from Earth Command. Admiral Shin Woo-jin's face appeared on the screen, and he was not smiling. Tae-ho, we have a problem. What kind of problem? The kind where 3 different species are asking for human military assistance. 2 more want to form defense alliances, and the Galactic Council is threatening sanctions if we keep interfering in galactic affairs. Kim Tae-ho leaned back in his chair. And the president wants to know if you have any suggestions for how to handle this diplomatically. Tell the president that diplomacy is talking. What we do is different. Which is? We answer when people call for help. That's not diplomacy. That's just being human. Shin Woo-jin was quiet for a moment. The council is saying we're too aggressive, too violent. They're calling us a threat to galactic peace. Are we? I don't know. Are we? Kim Tae-ho looked out his window at the Vellani homeworld below. Children were playing in parks that had been rubble 6 months ago. Ships moved peacefully through space that had been a battlefield. The council calls us violent, he said finally. But we use our violence to protect the innocent. The council calls us aggressive, but we're aggressive toward bullies and tyrants. If that makes us a threat to galactic peace, then maybe galactic peace wasn't worth keeping. Chief Engineer Choi Min-ho was working on something new in his workshop. The project was classified, but rumors said it was a weapon system unlike anything ever built. Something that could stop planet killers before they reached inhabited worlds. Chief, his assistant asked, do you really think we'll face something like the Harvesters again? Son, we've been in space for less than 50 years, and we've already fought ancient machines, pirates, and mechanical plagues. The galaxy is full of things that want to hurt innocent people. So we build bigger weapons? We build better weapons, smarter weapons, weapons that only hurt the things that need hurting. The assistant looked worried. What if we become the things that need hurting? Choi Min-ho stopped working and looked at the young engineer. That's a good question. That's the question we need to keep asking ourselves. The day we stop asking that question is the day we become monsters. How do we make sure that doesn't happen? We remember why we fight. We fight for children playing in parks. We fight for people who just want to live in peace. We fight for the right of civilizations to exist without fear. And if we forget, then hopefully someone will stop us the same way we stopped the harvesters. Dr. Han Kyung-mi was writing her final report on the psychological effects of the Vilan Prime battle. Her conclusions would shape how humanity approached future conflicts. The harvester machines failed to understand human psychology, she wrote, because they assumed that intelligence and logic were the same thing. They could not comprehend a species that would risk everything for strangers, or that would become more dangerous when facing defeat. However, humanity must be careful not to let its willingness to fight become a desire to fight. The galaxy needs protectors, not conquerors. The difference between the two is often measured in the restraint shown by the powerful toward the weak. Recommendation: human military forces should continue to respond to legitimate requests for aid, but should always withdraw once the immediate threat is eliminated. We must resist the temptation to become galactic rulers, no matter how good our intentions. In the Galactic Council chambers, representatives from a dozen species debated the human problem. Some called for restrictions on human military activity. Others argued that human intervention had saved countless lives. The debate raged for hours until a new voice spoke. Chancellor Arundel had traveled to the council to represent the Villani position. "Honored representatives," he said, 6 months ago my people were dying. We called for help, and this council debated the proper procedure for responding. While you debated, our children hid in shelters and waited to die. The humans did not debate. They did not form committees or conduct studies. They came to our aid immediately without asking what they would gain from helping us. You call them violent and aggressive. Perhaps they are, but they are violent toward those who threaten the innocent and aggressive in defense of the weak. I ask you, what is more civilized, to follow proper procedure while people die, or to break the rules to save lives? The council chamber was silent. The humans paid a terrible price for their decision to help us. 100 ships and their crews died to save my world. They ask for nothing in return except the knowledge that we are free. If that is not civilization, then perhaps civilization is not worth preserving. 1 year after the battle, Admiral Kim Tae-ho received a message that made him smile. It was from a species he had never heard of, calling themselves the Zentarans. Their message was simple. To the humans of Earth, our world is under attack by something we cannot fight alone. We know that asking for your help is dangerous. We know that many of your people may die if you come. But we also know that you are the only ones who will answer when people call for help.